Well, we got another puzzle from EscapeWelt. This one, Quest Pyramid. Let's give it a try. Well, the first thing about this one is, to me, it looked a lot more intimidating. The other one had buttons and wheels and levers and things, and this one, well, it has far less obvious features. You can see on this side, it's got what could be called the keypad feature, where you're going to need to come up with 4 numbers to input before the next thing can happen. And considering the layered nature of it, there's just a lot less to look at, but that also means that the helpful information is obvious. Honestly, I enjoyed this one more than the other one, but only because it felt a little more straightforward. In fact, it has straight instructions on the bottom. Okay, not instructions, but it does show you the order in which things should happen. So let's take a look around. Already showed you the little, we'll call it a keypad, and then a little tab that cannot be pulled up. You can also see some slight markings and things to be interacted with down lower, but you can't access that yet. The one has arrows, so you're kind of suspecting that something will spin at some point. The other side is basically just that as well. It's got the arrows and then a little thing that looks like you can access it after. Same with this side, in fact. However, this side has a few things to notice. First of all, it has a dial, and it also has a couple of buttons unique to this side. And if we head back down to the bottom, which is upside down, you'll see that the first thing seems to show you to push on an object with a serrated top, which is exactly what this is. Now we're getting into spoiler territory here, so if you want to figure this out on your own, time to leave. When you push that button, let me find it. There we go. Click. This thing pops out. Kind of looks like a stick of gum. And it has markings on it that aren't going to make a lot of sense yet. But they will. In fact, if you go to the second step, since we completed the first, you'll see that they give you 4 little areas for determining 4 numbers. And they're set up like math problems. This minus this equals, this plus this equals, you get it. But what are these symbols? Well, firstly, I'll tell you how I experienced it. I don't know if this was proper, but it was cool. Remember this stick of gum from earlier? We'll take a good look at that symbol. It's on the first math problem, and it shows that symbol minus an upward arrow. You then notice that there's an upward arrow on this as well. You also eventually notice there's a little perforated line in the middle. So if you minus the arrow, you slide it back in the direction it's pointing and it's gone. And when you cut that symbol in half, it's a 3. So then you tell yourself, the first number is 3. But what about all of these others? There, now you can see it. The thing is that I couldn't find these symbols anywhere else on this thing. And I tugged, pulled, shook, tried to rotate. I think I even bit it once. And then it hit me. If I can cut that symbol in half and make a number out of it, revelation. But then I asked, why would I get the first number in such a weird way and the others in a straightforward way? And I noticed those symbols were chosen not just because it's an arrow, but because if you put your finger over the arrow, it turns into a 1. Like that turns into a 3. Now I made me a crazy little cheat sheet here that makes me look like a crazy person, but it really came in handy. So I'll just save time and read it to you. So the first one cuts in half, where are you? There you go. To 3 minus 1, then 6 plus 4, then 5 minus 2 down here, then 7 plus 1. The numbers end up being 2, 10, 3, 8. Let's keep things moving. Thing is, the keypad doesn't have a 10, but it does have a 0. And it's not unheard of for those to be equivalent. The thing about these sliders, or what we've just been calling the keypad, is, and I brought this up before, some of the ways that these pieces of wood fit together gets a little stuck. And there's one of these sliders in particular that just doesn't like to cooperate, and it's the second one, the 10, which has to go all the way this way, and now it's gonna make a liar out of me. Haha. Well, if it does, just trust the code and keep working on it and start sliding the others until it gives. So I've got it set to our code. 2, 0, meaning 10, 3, and 8. And what that does is it frees this key. Now it's free. Takes a little wiggling. And we're gonna set that carefully nearby. Now with the key gone, we can use these arrows and rotate. Look, we broke it. Okay, with those rotated, we can now slide out the little things that we noticed before. They usually cooperate. I have a problematic one of those as well, and it's filled with mysterious symbols. Well, there's the fiddly one, but I did get it loose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of looks like a ninja star now. Not really, but... And they all have the same symbols in the same order. But what does it mean? Well, we must scour for clues. We did 2 items on our agenda. What is number 3? Number 3 is this wheel of symbols inside of little shapes, but what do those symbols correspond to? Well, here's the answer. Up on the very top, you're able to do some more rotating from the get-go, in fact, and I can't do this upside down, but they come together to form 4 of those symbols if you rotate them the proper way. Right now, I'll just show you that they move. And take my word for it, I'll put them together properly. Now we have 4 fully created symbols that match ones on the wheel on the bottom. But that's only half of the information that you need. Here's the thing you don't notice at first. Each of the symbols on that wheel is given a numerical value based on the shapes that encase them and the number of sides that they have. So like this one only has 1 because it kind of goes in a circle. This one has 6, etc., etc. So if we look at the symbols that are created on top, because one of the spinners does not spin, so they must be in a particular order, their values end up being 1 and 6 on the bottom, and then 3 and 2. So each side has its own number. But that doesn't help us know what to do with these symbols just yet. And this is where I say, but wait, there's more! Because there's this mysterious little wheel to deal with. And that is number 4. So as you turn it, and I don't know how well you can see this, but there are 2 windows where little symbols appear, and then there are 8 drilled holes in the top, and as you go, some are blocked, so they kind of show you a number of dots. And this is really hard to show on camera, but if you look in yours, you'll notice that there is definitely a number there. So we're taking my word for it. You can also take my word for the fact that in those 2 holes is half of one of these shapes. These shapes. This one, for instance, makes like a little U with little dots on top. And according to the thing on top, its value is 2. And wouldn't you know it, one of our sides has a value of 2. So guess which one we're setting that stick of gum to. And there's 2 little arrows, so you gotta get your symbol right in between. And once you get all your symbols lined up, this should lift free. And there's a groovy prize inside, like a Cracker Jacks box, but we're not gonna show it here. You can discover it on your copy, because that's part of the fun. Now it's time to put everything back. We start with pushing these back in, and then rotate it back to normal. Also forgot to mention, but when you're putting the top back on, it has a notch that has to go here, or else your little key won't fit. It also won't fit if you've bumped it around and messed up the code, and that usually happens. So after re-inputting your code, the key should just kind of wiggle back in. It may have to fight for it. Oh, it worked. And then mess up the code so the next person can't benefit from all your hard work. Anyway, there's the basics of getting into the box. What do I think of it? I really like it. This is only my second puzzle box, and this one I did with no hints, so I'm proud of myself for that. So anyway, I like it. Pirate approved. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.